Hi everyone, it's Paddy here from arithmetichub.com, thanking you for choosing this video, but reminding you that whilst this is one method to solve questions like this, it's not the only method. With that being said, let's explore this concept a little bit further.
Hi everyone, so today we're having a look at number families. Now, these types of questions are a bit of a test of your understanding of your times tables basically. But actually, the method for these types of questions is quite straightforward once you get used to it, particularly when you're multiplying, okay? So, these types of questions ask things like 3 times something is 15, so 30 times something is going to be 150. Or something times 4 is 8, so something times 40 is 800. And what we're going to look at today is the relationship between these questions, okay? The relationship between the first question and the second question. So, to start off with, let's have a look at the method. First thing you have to do, answer the first multiplication, okay? And then the second thing says, when multiplying, the amount of zeros in the question tells you the amount of zeros in the answer. Usually. That's why we're looking at this question here, because this one is where that maybe doesn't quite stack up, and it doesn't always quite stack up like that, but it's sort of the rule, and then there's some exceptions to the rule, which is what we're going to have a little bit of a look at, okay? So don't get completely caught up by that. It's usually, we'll have a little look at an example where that's different, okay? So, first thing we need to do, answer the first multiplication. So, 3 times something is going to give me 15. If I really needed to, I could write down the 3 times tables here to help me out. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So 3 times what is going to give me 15? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of 3 is going to give me 15. So I know that 3 times 5 equals 15. So 30 times something is going to give me 150. So now I've got 3 times 5 is 15. 30 times something is going to give me 150. Now, this is where it's important to have a look at the second part of this method. When multiplying, the amount of zeros in the question tells you the amount of zeros in the answer, usually. So, here we've gone from 3 times 5 is 150. We've multiplied 3 by 10, haven't we? So here 3 was in the ones, and now we've got 3 tens and no ones. We've multiplied it by 10. 3 times 10 is 30. So, if we've multiplied it, the question, part of the question by 10, we need to multiply our answer by 10, which is why, what happens there is we move the place value 1 column along, and we put our placeholder in, which is our zeros over here. So, what we've done is we've multiplied this by 10, so we have to multiply our answer by 10. So, 3 times 5 is 15, 30 times 5 is going to give us 150. Let me just check and see if that works. Now, what I can do is I can do my 30 times tables, and you might be thinking, well, I don't know my 30 times tables, but if you know your 3's, you'll be fine doing your 30 times tables, because we've got 3, 30, 6, 60, 9, 90, 12, 120, 15 is 150. So all we've done is we've multiplied our 3 times tables, 3, by 10 to make 30. 6 times 10 gives you 60. 9 times 10 gives you 90. 12 times 10 gives you 120. 15 times 10 gives you 150. So for these questions, all I've done is I've multiplied it by 10 here in the question, so my answer needs to be multiplied by 10 as well. There was 1 0 in the question, so there's 1 0 in the answer. If we get rid of this 0, all of a sudden it becomes 3 times 5 is 15. Which we knew from up here, which is why we've got the first bit to help us out. 3 times what is 15, so 30 times what is going to be 150, where 3 times 5 is 15, 30 times 5 is going to be 150. Let's look again, and let's have a look at this example. All that's happened is we've swapped it around which part we have and which part we don't have. It's a really simple multiplication. So, first part, answer the first multiplication, that's what we need to do. Something times 4 is going to give me 8. Again, I can write out my 4s if I need to. 4, 8. I didn't need to do that, to be honest. Something times 4 is going to give me 8. I know that 2 times 4 is going to give me 8. So, something times 40 is going to give me 800. Now, this is where it becomes a little bit more complicated. So, 2 times 4 gave me 8. So, something times 40 is going to give me 800. Now, using what we've learned from this question before, we noticed that if we added a 0 in the question, then we added a 0 in our answer. Here we've added 1 0 in the question, but we've got 2 zeros in our answer. So, if I said my answer was 2 times 40 is going to give you 800, if I write out my 40 times tables in the same way as I did here with my 30 times tables, 4 times by 10 is going to give me 40, 8 times by 10 is going to give me 80. It doesn't work, does it? Because we've only got 1 0 in our answer, because we've only times it by 10, we've only multiplied it by 10. So instead, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have a look at this second part of the question here. When multiplying, the amount of zeros in the question tells you the amount of zeros in the answer. So I've got 2 zeros in my answer. So now we can work backwards, we can do the inverse, can't we? If I've got 2 zeros in my answer, I've only got 1 0 in my question here. But if I add another 0 in my question, then I'm going to have 2 zeros, aren't I? I'm going to have 2 zeros. 2 zeros in my question, 2 zeros in my answer. 20 times 40 is going to give me 800. There you go, fantastic, that's how we do those ones. This is where it becomes slightly more confusing, and only because of this 108 here, because it says when multiplying, the amount of zeros in the question tells you the amount of zeros in the answer. Usually we've got another 0 in the question here. So let's have a little look at it. Something times 9 is going to give me 108. So for 9s, I might need to write down my 9 times tables. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90, still going, 99, 108. So, let me just check how many lots of 9 give me 108. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 lots of 9 gave me 108. So I've answered the first multiplication and I've done what I needed to do to start with. So I've said 12 times 9 is 108. Okay? So something times 9 is going to give me 10,800. Let's set it up over here again, shall we? Give me 10,800. Okay, so we said 12 times 9 is going to give us 108. Something times 9 is going to give us 10,800. Now, what we need to notice is, on these ones, what we've done is we've multiplied one of the numbers by 10, or both of the numbers by 10 in some examples here. Now, here we don't have anything multiplied by 10. It's just 12 times 9 is going to give us 108. If we multiply it by 10, that's when we move the digits, isn't it? So, if we've multiplied it by 10, what happens if we've got 108, just put it in this little bit over here where I've got some space. 108, we've got our 1s, our 10s and our 100s. If we multiply it by 10, so 108 times 10, what would happen is we would drop the 8 down, move it one place to the left. Drop the 0 down, move it one place to the left. Drop the 1 down, move it one place to the left. And put our placeholder in there like that, wouldn't we? Okay, so we've multiplied it by 10. We've added a 0 in the 1s column, but we've moved the digits. Okay, so we've moved the digits. But that's 1,080. So we've not multiplied 108 by 10, have we? Let's try it again. If we do 108 times 100, okay? Because now we're going to move the digits twice. So let's have a look what happens when we do that. Drop the 8 down, move it once, twice from our 1s to our 100s. Drop the 0 down, move it once, twice from our 10s to our 1000s. Drop the 1 down, move it once, twice from our 100s to our 10,000s. And then what we would do is we would put our placeholders in over here. Now we've got 10,800. So what we've done is we've multiplied 108 by 100. So if we're multiplying it by 100, we've got 2 zeros in the question there, which told us we needed to move it 2 places. We know our 108 has moved 2 places to go from being 108 to 10,800. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to multiply our answer to this by 100, aren't we? So we can do 12 times 10 in exactly the same way as we did over here. 12 times 10 would give us 120. 12 times 100 would give us 1,200. 1 0 in the question, so 1 0 in the answer. 2 zeros in the question, 2 zeros in the answer. So let's see if that now makes sense. 1,200 times 9 is going to give us 10,800. Well, I've got my 2 zeros in the question and my 2 extra zeros in the answer. 2 extra zeros in the question, 2 extra zeros in the answer. So 1,200 times 9 is going to give you 10,800.
If you found this video useful, then I would massively appreciate you liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you want to explore more methods or practice using the method we've looked at here, why not check out the teacher videos at arithmetichub.com. Arithmetic Hub has videos just like this on different methods, specifically targeting areas needed in Key Stage 2. There you can practice one particular skill or generate your own sets of calculations designed to challenge your understanding of all the topics covered in Years 3 to 6.